All right, welcome back to the Hippie Moms podcast, my beautiful community, and I'm so excited. Today we have Wayne Altman of Melody Clouds. Welcome, Wayne.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
I'm so glad you're here too. When I heard about what you've created and what you're doing, I knew that your message and what you have is going to benefit our community. And before we kind of get into all the good stuff about Melody Clouds and music, and I would love for you to tell me what led you to create this company and this gift that you're bringing to the world.
So it was kind of out of necessity for me. I spent 8.5 years in the Army, went through Desert Storm, and among a bunch of great things, it left me with a condition, an injury to my auditory nerve called tinnitus or tinnitus,
Oh.
some people call it. And it's a ringing in the ear. And so not only do I have about 75% hearing loss, but I have this vicious ringing in my ear. And it's plagued me for the last 30 years. Last year, about a year and a half ago, a very good friend of mine who served with me invited me over, and he said, "You have tinnitus," and I said, "Yeah." And he said, "I want you to listen to something." So he played this track of music, and we were talking before. It was like this very crunchy, very woo woo, you know,
Yeah.
track of music, and that is not me. Okay, I'm just not that guy. Anyway, but it did nothing. It did nothing. So I took a sip of my drink, and I'm like, I don't know what you're trying to do here, but that did nothing. So he played another track of music that also less crunchy, but still nothing.
Mm.
The third track of music, though, the third track of music he played for me gave me something that I did not have for 30 years, and that was silence. That was this auditory nerve that was just calm. And there's ringing that I hear right now as you and I are talking. I
Mm.
hear it right now, but I didn't hear it. I could hear him, but I didn't hear that ringing in my ear. And 4 days later, I bought the domain Melody Clouds, and I did a deep dive. And anyone who knows me knows or will tell you that if I find something that's interesting to me, I go to the Marianas Trench. Okay, I do the deepest dive on that. And I started learning about binaural beats, solfeggio frequencies. I started learning about relaxation and what makes them our brains think in different frequencies. And so Melody Clouds, that's my gift to the world right now is Melody Clouds.
Wow. I love
Crazy.
that. That is so crazy. And it's just so serendipitous how he just automatically thought to let you listen to this music.
Yeah, I mean, these opportunities are around us all the time.
Right.
We just have to be in tune with that opportunity. You have to hear it.
Yeah.
Okay. You could be at the grocery store in a conversation with someone that you'd never met before. You could be in church. You could be wherever.
Yeah.
Okay. So few of us listen and are tuned to that frequency of thought that we are going to actually take action, do something about that.
Mm.
And it just so happens that all the things fell into place, and I felt strongly enough about doing this because I do. We're in 103 countries right now. We're
Wow.
translated in 206 languages. My wife, my poor wife, is like, you know, we get phone calls almost 24 hours a day, in whatever language,
Wow.
because I answer the phone for Melody Clouds. I answer the phone for I answer the phone for Melody Clouds like a big dummy. Okay. And when people call, I'm the one they get.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, it's obviously a huge passion project and something that, you feel so called. So let's back it up a little bit. In your research, what did you learn about these different musical frequencies and how they interact with the body?
So from day one on the planet, the human has communicated with one another through music. Okay. The first tribes, the first time we tribed up, we let other tribes that we ran into know whether or not it was a good idea to approach us by our voices. Right? You see it today. Drum beats. You know, when tribes are about to go to war with one another, they make a certain noise. You know, we or when we sing happy birthday to one another, we do that with either, you know, joy in our voice.
Yeah.
Okay. We let other people know, hey, either stay away or okay, now would be a good time to come with us, or you know, to approach us, right? That also applies to other things as well. You've heard the term he's in the zone or she's in the zone.
Yes.
Well, it turns out the zone is an actual place. You have a frequency of thought that things are flowing with. You've had emotion where you've had like in a eureka moment. That is your brain communicating at a certain frequency. And when we started being able to measure that and identify that frequency, then it opened it up to us being able to recreate that for you.
Oh.
I'll give you an example of this.
Okay.
So for me, sleep is 432 hertz. Okay. That's one of the frequencies that I sleep at. Okay? All right. So I lay in bed and I'm a mind racer. I will think about what I should have said. I will plan for the next day. Body is totally exhausted. Okay. The person next to me wants to go to sleep, but my mind is like, no, not right now. We're not tired. We're going to, right? I can go into melody clouds now, find the track of music has a little sleeping baby. I made it very easy to identify for myself, not for anybody else, but for me. Hit that button and 14 seconds of music, because the 15th second I'm out. It's like almost like a light. It's a dimmer switch.
Yeah.
My brain will start to react and start getting in that 432 hertz, and it drops me like a heavyweight boxer every time. Now, on the other side of that, if I want to listen to, okay, let's say that you and I are going to go to the gym and we're going to get a workout in. Okay. You know the difference between someone who's going there to work out or someone going there to check out.
Yeah.
Meaning, look at all the other people working out. And how is you take a look at their track list. You find the music. What music are they listening to? Because certain pieces of music will get our brain in that focused, in that excited, that workout room, right? No one is working out to Michael Bolton. Love his music, but no one's working out to that.
Right.
They're working out to AC/DC. They are working out to Metallica, right? It gives us energy. It makes us aggressive. And that's how we're going to work out. Same thing. That music is making your brain, or your brain is reacting to it in a way to change the frequency of thought. And now you're ready to do this or ready to do that.
Wow. So when you said 432 hertz, is that the same frequency as nature?
So yes, there are some relaxing frequencies in nature. Certain animal calls. Okay, to say nature overall would be wrong.
Okay.
But there are certain relaxing things that operate at a certain frequency. You are correct.
Okay.
It would be very bad if a lion's roar or a bear's, chattering made your brain go to sleep. Okay. That would be a bad thing.
Right.
That changes your brain frequency to fight or flight. That means, we got to boogity, we got to get out of here.
Yeah.
Right. If you're smart. Really a babbling brook, the ocean waves, the sound of water, they have a tendency to operate in frequencies that are relaxing to humans. It is no accident either. The US military in particular, other militaries have done this, but the US military in particular in the 70s did a lot of research to actually avoid war by using these frequencies, actually involve less soldiers in battle by transmitting frequencies that would make the enemy freak out and run away.
Really?
Yes. So people look at the military. Your job is to kill people and break things. If you're in the army, that's your job. No one disputes that. However, it was very cool for me to think that we were actively researching ways of doing less of that and still winning.
Yeah, that is really interesting.
I mean, why would you do that? You really, because the people that are responsible for doing all the killing and breaking things really don't want to do that either. Really,
Yeah.
that was the conclusion that I came to. I
Mm-hmm.
just read a paper about that not too long ago, and it was fascinating to see, hey, we actually have some thinking people that are in charge of our military that would do those experiments.
Yeah, I find that really interesting. And then kind of bringing it back to, us as mothers. I mean, how can we use these frequencies to help
Yeah,
us in our lives? Because I think it's so fascinating. I mean,
yeah,
really, I feel that there's so much magic in frequency. And I really do believe energy medicine is the future of medicine. That
yeah, yeah.
frequencies and energy is where we're moving to. And so now we have this opportunity to put on our phone, get on a little app and say, hey, I'm going to listen to this, or this is what I need. So what are some of
Right.
the benefits that we get from utilizing, from integrating this type of frequency music?
Tons. I mean, think about this. If you're married or in a relationship with someone, right, and you have a disagreement, it would probably behoove you to put your mind in a space where you are in a reconciliation mode, or maybe even an accepting or more compassionate mode.
Yeah.
And all of these are frequencies that you can use. Of 742, I believe. I don't quote. I'm not in my home right now, but I have a list of the frequencies and what they do. And
Oh,
they're all on Melody Clouds, the app. So you open the app and you have all the frequencies. So and it will tell you what those frequencies do. But imagine that you've had an argument with your spouse, with your significant other, and really you come to the realization that, you know what, maybe that was not a hill worth dying over. Maybe, right? Maybe,
yeah.
or you're angry and you don't want to be.
Mm.
If you look, Melody Clouds, our tagline is take charge of your mood. So
Mm.
if you're upset and you don't want to be, you really don't have to be. You can listen for a few minutes to a track of music and let binaural beats basically kind of reset you. Because
Mm.
what you're talking about is with the binaural beat. Let me explain to you what that is.
Yes, please.
So let's say that you are angry or that you have grief, that you're very grief stricken. You can play a track of music that has two frequencies embedded in it. Okay. One frequency goes in one ear, one frequency goes in the other. That's the binaural, right?
Oh, okay.
What happens when you do that? These two frequencies are slightly different. And your brain chooses, I don't say it, nobody's brain's forced to do anything if but your brain chooses to react to that by creating a third frequency
Oh,
somewhere in the middle of those two frequencies.
interesting.
It happens every time you watch a movie. It happens every time that you listen to music. When the change of your mood happens, let's say that you get in a car, it's girls' night out, right? You get in the car, you're going to go have drinks with your friends. Maybe you haven't seen, so there you get in that car and the music starts playing, and everybody in the car has the same reaction to that song. They're just very excited. Or you and I, we are walking down the street, we're going to have lunch, and I say, I got to make a quick stop. And I stop in a church that is playing organ, a very heavy dirge, a very reverential type of music with the organ, right?
Mhm.
Without even looking at one another, you and I are going to know, lower your voice, be respectful.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter that you don't go to this church. Doesn't matter that you don't practice that same religion. It's
Mhm.
on automatic cue that everyone is going to lower their voice and become respectful.
Mm.
To prove that this works, we're going to then leave this church, go across the street to a Southern Baptist church that is singing praise music.
Mm.
You walk through that door and immediately your hands go above your head. You are just as praised. You get that same feeling. Doesn't you don't go to this church? It doesn't mean that to you the same thing, right? But it is still uplifting, and you still
Mm.
feel that same emotion.
So it's almost like an automatic response to these frequencies.
Not auto. It's not almost. It is
It is auto-
definitely an automatic response. Right. Your brain chooses to react in a certain way to those frequencies.
And so what this is almost choosing a frequency in order to take that frequency in so that you can feel what you're wanting to feel more, more forgiving or less irritated or whatever that
Yes.
could be.
More compassionate.
I love
Um, yeah, exactly. Less. I I have a lot of people that right now the big thing is autism. So we are working with a lot of autism groups because a lot of people with autism are less communicative, so they don't respond to talking about their feelings. They have trouble communicating. But one
that.
thing that they can do is listen to certain types of music, and that tends to soothe and to change the moods of people that are suffering like that.
Wow.
A very big thing for us right now too is PTSD. Our guided meditations are being used way more and more and more for people that are suffering from addictions. And but the thing on Melody Clouds that gets the most attention, you would think, would be the binaural beats. That's what we're talking about,
Yeah.
but it's actually the lullabies. New mothers are coming to me because the thought behind it was we will cut the lullabies in larger sections, 5 to 10 hour tracks of music,
Mm.
and basically no binaural beats, no solfeggio frequencies in there. But when you put a baby down for the night and they wake up to the same music, and they will wake up, any parent knows this,
Yeah.
they will wake up to the same music and they learn 30 to 40% faster their first skill, which is self-soothing. So they
Mm.
will self-soothe 30%, 40% quicker than normal because they wake up in the same exact environment as when they went to sleep.
Oh my gosh, I wish I had that when my children were young.
Right? Oh,
Oh
me
my,
too. I have
would have
three
been life
girls,
changing.
and they were all the wake up champion of the world. I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy. I would sit with Reagan. I would sit for hours talking to her, and she'd wake up after maybe only a couple of hours sleep, just like, "Hey, we're up. Let's go. Let's get busy."
You're like, no.
And I would be like, "Yeah, your dad needs more sleep than that."
Oh, we can all relate with you, Wayne, on that one for sure. And
Right?
what a gift. I know that was one of my biggest things. I would play music for my kids all the time and stories. That was actually when they really started to like go asleep on their own. They'd listen to music or stories. And,
Yeah.
and it gives them that sense of comfort, knowing that they're not alone.
Well, one of the things that we're learning very quickly, which is why we added Aesop's fables. Okay,
Oh,
so on the app, you have Aesop's fables as well. And a very good friend of mine, Gary Meyer, he is in the Radio Hall of Fame. He's a very famous disc jockey. And he came to me and he's like, "Hey, I want to help." And so I said, "Look, I need someone to read Aesop's fables. They're 1 or 2 minute long stories. You may remember them. the fox and the grapes, the donkey and the lion skin. Okay, these stories weren't just stories; they taught a lesson, right? And so he was asking me, he's like, why these particular stories? And I said, well, number one, people have forgotten these lessons. If you teach children very early how to share, how to not be mad when they don't get their own way, when you teach them, hey, look, maybe you keep your mouth shut sometimes and don't draw attention to yourself. Okay, all these lessons that we take a long time to learn. Plus, as parents, we have decided that it's a good idea to hand our child a device and that everything is presented to them. Mm-hmm. Whether it's a phone, whether it's, look, I'm not telling anyone how to parent their child, but maybe you read them a story and let them develop an imagination. Yeah. And if you can't do that, that's okay. Let them hear a story that has no images to it, yeah, and develop their imagination that way. I get it. I'm a working parent. Yeah. It is tough to come back home and to sit down and read a story. But you can open my app and have that read the story, and you just sit with that child and rest and interact with them. And it's way easier than if you're the one that has to come home and read. And by the way, it's in great. I mean, this guy's in the Radio Hall of Fame. Okay, so his voice is on another level.
Oh wow, I can't wait to check it out. We love stories. We listen to them on road trips, and yeah, my boys are older now, so I don't know if they would be into it. But I love that. I think that's brilliant. I really think moms can really use that help, and kids just love.
I would argue. Listen, I mean, Aesop was someone that is, was a slave, and Plato and Socrates sat and learned from him. I mean, these are stories that if you don't already know him by your teens, yeah, you're in trouble. Okay. Now, yeah, still, a good story is a good story. And I would argue that we, at any age, we're interested in a good story.
Always.
And that's what these are.
Okay. That's so cool. I can't wait. So a couple questions. First, I want to know, what exactly is the difference between binaural beats and solfeggio?
Solfeggio.
That's how you say it.
Questions.
Okay.
Seriously, that's cool. That is very cool.
Because I don't know, and I would love to know. So teach me.
So binaural beats we talked about, right? It's one frequency in one ear, one frequency in the other ear. Solfeggio, that's my favorite because it was observed, I don't say discovered, it was observed by an 11th century monk named Guido di Arezzo. And what he figured out, what he observed and told everybody about. Look, I don't play a musical instrument. Do you play a musical instrument?
I don't. Well, I play the flute. I play the flute and the drum, but not okay, not like
okay. What about sing? Can you sing?
Yes.
Oh, really? Yes. See, I cannot.
Okay.
And this makes
this
very cool.
Can sing. Everyone can sing.
No. I'm a very bad. You do not want to hear me sing. It's a horrible, horrible thing to hear me sing. My children remind me of that all the time. And it's okay because the one thing you and I share is we can tell when someone is doing it badly. You know when a piano is out of tune, so do I. You know when someone is singing horribly, so do I. The only group that doesn't seem to be able to tell is American Idol. At the the very beginning of the season, they have these singers and they put both really bad singers on and they do that because they know that we will all enjoy watching someone try to do something they can't do. We all laughed at that. But all right, let me give you a better example of this.
Okay.
If you and I are in a concert hall and we are listening to someone who does it great, who is a really, really good singer, that will move across that audience like nothing else. Yeah. We all experience that together. It prickles our skin. It as a group of people, we get moved.
We do.
Deeply moved by that. That is solfeggio. Our ability shared across, doesn't matter if you play a musical instrument or you don't play a musical instrument, whether you can sing, whether you can't sing, we all share that. And that is solfeggio. When you find those frequencies, those tones that are so pure, and you can move someone emotionally using that, it's a very powerful tool. It's a sledgehammer when everyone else is using a small little, I mean, it's Whitney Houston singing the national anthem.
Yeah.
You would have thought that was the first time anyone had ever heard that song before.
Yeah.
It's been 20 years and it's still used as an example. That's what I'm talking about. You want to talk about solfeggio, that is a very good example of that.
So are there different frequencies? I'm just not understanding. Is there different frequencies of solfeggio? Like it is a specific like 432.
No, it's the purity. It's the ability to hit that thing so so perfectly.
I see.
You see what
Yeah.
I mean? It's that ability to, that guitar is just a little out of tune. And so
Yeah.
it's right? You
Yeah.
hear someone playing a guitar, and then you have someone that's really good
Yeah.
next to them playing guitar. You forget about the first guy. Get
Yeah.
out of here. It's this guy or girl. It's them that they have that solfeggio quality. And that is shared across everyone. And we all have that ability. We all respond to it. That's what I'm talking about.
Got it.
A specific frequency. It's not a specific song. No. You've heard, maybe you like country music, maybe you don't like country music, right? I love country music. I love bluegrass music. Now, if someone is singing a real or does a very good performance of a hip hop song, or I recognize that.
Yeah.
Okay, you are a virtuoso. you really, that was great, right? That's what we're talking
about. Okay, I see. So how does that relate to frequency? Because I'll go on, no, forgive me, but I belong to Spotify, which I would like to just ask quickly.
That's a great source. Yeah, Spotify's great.
But what's the difference? So because I know I go to Spotify, but it's really hard to find frequency music that's either long enough or or something that I like. So is your library of music, is it just much more expansive when it comes to this binaural beats and different meditative music?
Well, we have about 300,000 files. So number one, I have a tendency to look, you're going to turn it off before it runs out. How's that?
Yeah.
I mean, I will put you in a chair. I will put you in a chair and I will outlast you. And if I don't, all you have to do is press one button and it'll start all over again.
Wow.
Right? So I don't believe in stopping something or pulling you out of that before you're ready.
Yeah.
That is something that I don't. Look, if you've got the time, I have the tune. It will continue to go. Other places they want to. It's the same reason that Instagram has those clips now, and everyone's attention span seems to be shorter and shorter and shorter. Hey, guess what? This is a very good exercise in giving attention for a longer period of time. So maybe there's another benefit of using melody clouds we just discovered right now.
Oh, I think that is what we're all seeking, because we cannot pay attention to anything.
Yeah.
Everyone's mind is just constant distraction. And that's, I believe, the source of our suffering. Because
it is 100%. I would definitely look, two things. That is definitely a source of suffering. I total buy-in on that.
Yeah.
I think also that we need to start thinking of others before we think of ourselves. Okay. The minute that you are of service to others and you take a back seat to you, I mean, how many times do you have people telling you self-care, self-love, self-this, self-that? Okay. Great. That's why we're where we are. Because everyone is worried about themselves before they're worried about the others around them.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm taken care of when I know that I can't get to that place before I know that everyone around me is cool.
Yeah. Well,
Y'all cool?
I think there's a lot of different ways to look at that. As mothers, we've been taught to pour from an empty cup and to always make sure everyone's taking care of before us. And then we're ragged, we're run ragged, we're sick,
Yeah.
we're a lot of us are very unhealthy. So I agree with that to bit. I think being in service with someone is can really help lift your moods and get you out of that spin. And at the same time, as mothers, I believe I need to take care of this queen eats first. I've got to take care of my mind, my body, and my emotional health so I can hold space for my children and
Well,
show up and not
I
be.
don't mean it. I don't mean it in the sense that if you're not well,
Yeah,
you can't take care of the people around you.
true.
Okay, if you are in a depreciated manner, if you're
Yeah,
depleted, okay,
yeah,
then that's not what I mean.
yeah.
That's not what I mean. If you are taking care of yourself, ignoring all around you,
Right.
okay, if you are standing there doing your neck, I'm making this feminine.
Yes.
Let me think. But you know what I'm saying. If I don't want to, look, I got a wife and my children have a mother. I got to
Yeah.
be careful what I say here, because I'm using Tracy as an example.
Yeah.
Tracy is a fire hose of taking care of others,
Yeah.
right? She puts out all fires.
Yeah.
I am married to, and I would be, listen, I'm on your side, okay? Because she does that very frequently.
Yeah.
She'll run out. She is like that balloon of love that just kind of zips around the room, okay? And then there's nothing left.
Yeah.
And that's not a good place to be. So
Right.
that's also part of the reason why we have melody clouds, because
Yes.
I have to kind of put those headphones on her sometimes and go, hey, you need to fill up because
Yeah.
we're about to go through a very difficult time right now.
Well, and I love that. One, I love that you hold space for your wife that way because I do find that that can be rare for so many women. But what I love so much is that this really is a self-care tool.
Oh, for sure.
This is something that you can, and I know because I've been listening to binaural beats and
Solfeggio, but go ahead. Yeah.
solfeggio. Okay, I just want to
Yeah.
make sure I'm saying it right.
Yeah.
Forever. I mean, I have it all in my list, my meditation music. But I'm excited to check out Melody Clouds. But I know that that music it harmonizes you. That's how I feel.
Yep.
I feel more harmonized. I feel lighter. I feel calmer. And I just feel like I have a better perspective about things. And that's why I think taking little pockets of time and tuning in to this type of music and this type of frequency can change your life.
100%. And not only that, but the lives of people around you,
Oh,
especially
yeah.
if you are in charge of little people. I mean,
Yeah.
you are programming little people.
Yeah.
You have to be at your best.
You do.
It is imperative for those around you, for society at large, that
Yeah.
you raise decent little people into larger decent people.
Right.
And I will say this, it was talking about that subject, holding space and whatever. I was telling one of my kids not too long ago that there are the most dangerous place on the planet has been determined to be between a hippopotamus and water, the water source. It's a very dangerous place to be. But an even more dangerous place to be than that is between my wife and I. That is an incredibly dangerous place to be. So, what I'm saying is, if you don't have someone in your life holding space for you like that,
Yeah.
you need to fix that quickly.
Yeah.
This life is not to be lived solitary.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
whoever that partner is, that's priority number one, is to have backup.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, fortunately, many of us do, and there's some that don't.
Yeah,
And, you
that
know,
is so crazy to me.
well, it is. And at the same time, what you said earlier is, we are programming our children. We are
Yep.
raising them, and they are programmed by us, by how, not what we say, but what we do. And so the more harmony, the more calm, the more
Yep.
spaciousness that we can create within ourselves, then that's what they're going to pick up on. That's what they're going to eventually bring into the world. That's why I think, meditation, finding stillness, listening to binaural beats, allowing you to be harmonized day in and day out is so important. I really believe this is the future of medicine. And I really do believe when we harmonize and come from that place of harmony, we can make decisions that are in alignment and attunement with that harmony rather than the discombobulation or distortion, right? Just like
Right.
that Metallica and that like let's fight. I mean, that's fine for going to the gym, maybe war, but in home, it's like we
Right.
need
Well,
to.
yeah. No, these are all tools. You no,
Yeah, they're tools.
you have this exactly right. I mean,
Yeah,
you don't want to have a toolbox without a hammer in it,
right.
just like you don't want to have a toolbox without a screwdriver. I mean, if
Exactly.
you're beating all of the screws into the wall, that is just that's the wrong tool for the job. And going back that you just said something that's the future of medicine, and it has been here all the time.
Right.
And the number one way I knew this was a real thing, we discussed. I'm not a crunchy. I'm not that guy. Okay, how I knew this was the real a real thing
Yeah.
was the fact that the first two tracks did nothing for me.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't the third track that was so profound. After at the beginning it was, but after I realized, well, wait a minute, this is medicine. This is acting the same way as a prescription drug would act.
Even
You
better.
can't find a prescription drug that works the same way on every single person.
Right. That's
But
true.
on some people, it has a profound effect.
Mm,
And what happens when it doesn't? You go back to the doctor and he gives you a different prescription and he does it in a different level,
yep.
a different dosage,
Mm-hmm.
right? Instead of take one, take two.
Right.
And this is exactly the same. And
Yes.
it convinced me that, okay, wait a minute. Now I have to pay attention because this actually is acting like something there's science behind this now.
There is. Yeah, there is. There's so much science behind this frequency music. And I just want to know something that really is coming to me is, when we put ourselves in that rest, rejuvenating, relaxing state, that's when our bodies can heal. They can't heal in fight or flight. They
Yeah.
heal when you're humming and your whole body is almost like when I'm in that state, I feel like every cell is like lit up. And I
Yeah.
know that when I'm in that state, that's when I'm healing. And when you get into that and you feel that sense of calm and relaxation, there's something happening there. You're changed. And then
Yeah.
you just,
That frequency is,
yeah,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
please, that's okay.
That frequency is 174, 178 hertz. And your brain is an electrical appliance
Yeah.
and it directs your everything from involuntary, your breathing, your blinking, whatever, all those involuntary things are done by your brain, those signals, and also your voluntary, the things, your thoughts, your emotions, all of those voluntary things, right? Okay. The whole reason that we have hospitals to begin with is so your brain will spend more time in that frequency and will actually heal. Let me give you an example. If you witness a car accident and someone is injured in it, you do not leave them in place. You try to get them to a hospital as quickly as possible. Why? Well, that's where we've kept the doctors. They're going to do what they do.
Yeah.
But your body, once all of that is done, your body needs a place that is warm, dry, and is not trying to survive on its own. It's
Yeah.
not they're not worried about food. You're not worried about further danger, right? Your
Yeah.
brain then spends more time in that frequency and you can heal way faster in a hospital than you can, all things being equal, than you can at home. Now, if that's not true, then they'll send you home. A
Right.
doctor will say, hey, look, it's way more dangerous for you to be here than it would be for you to be at home. You have someone there to take care of you. And they do that because you will heal faster in those places.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. I mean, especially for, when we have these acute diseases, thank God for that type of those space, the people to hold space for us and heal. So it's almost like we need to put ourselves in our quote unquote, I don't even like to call it hospital, but like our own little retreat center every day, right? To like kind of fill up our battery in a way to just be able to, because aren't most of us just constantly like go, 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 fight or flight? It's just like our adrenaline, our adrenals are
Oh,
overrun.
your stimulus is coming at you
All
all the time now,
It's
all the
overwhelming.
time.
Yeah.
Information is just beating the bejesus out of you every minute of every day.
Really.
And so you're right. If you don't take time for yourself to go do guided meditation,
Yeah.
to do just even being in a quiet spot,
Yeah.
or slow down that intake of information, at
Yeah.
least to a trickle of a binaural beat, a solfeggio frequency,
Mm-hmm.
you're really doing yourself a lot of harm.
Yeah.
That those stressors on your nervous system create way more problems than you just see through someone. It ages people.
It's
Their
every
cancers. There are tons, right? There are tons of things that are caused
yeah.
by those stressors. And
Oh,
if you don't deal with it now, you'll be dealing with it over time.
yeah. It really is true. I mean, stress is the number one, I believe, cause and foundation of all illness. And that's what's so beautiful is how simple it is to put in some AirPods, right? And to turn on some music and to take some breaths, even if it's 5 to 10 minutes, right, Wayne? It doesn't have to be hours. I mean, I know through my meditation practice, I like at least an hour, 2 hours a day. Like that is where I'm at because I know that it fuels me. I feel so much better. I'm happier. I have more energy. But even 5, 10 minutes, right? That can make a huge difference.
Massive. Well, look, it does not take that long to relieve someone's grief or to change someone's mood. It does that. We're talking less than 30, 40 seconds.
Oh, wow.
Once you get that stimulus, once you have those, you find the frequencies that work for you,
Yeah.
it happens very quickly. I was mentioning sleep before.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, if I listen to 432 hertz any time of day, and
Mm,
I listen to it for longer than I could go 14 seconds, because on the 15th second I am snoozing.
amazing.
Period. And it has that that effect on me. Now, if I want to get focused, it takes about the same period of time for me to feel the sensation of focus or at least increased attention. And I do that from time to time. Melody Clouds requires there's a lot of things I need that are moving, plates that are spinning, that things that I'm trying to make come together. So if I'm not at my best, if I'm not focused on those things, then it takes me way longer to get things accomplished
For
than it
sure.
would normally. I'm the same as everyone else is exactly the same way.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, I mean, I feel that you're onto something, Wayne. I really do. And I'm really excited to check out Melody Clouds, because like I said, I listen to a lot of binaural beats and all these meditation music, but there's always missing something. It's either too short or it just, I don't know. Not only that, but I'd like to know, like, if I'm looking for this kind of mood, what frequency should I tune into? And it sounds like
Right.
that's what you can offer. That's what you offer, right?
Yeah. So that and the fact that, yes, I organize them in a very easy way. All of the icons on Melody Clouds are award-winning photography. So it's the prettiest app in your pocket, right?
Oh,
We have 18,000 audiobooks in 6 different languages, all read by professional voiceover artists. So if you want to listen to a classic, some people like being read to, some people like reading on their own.
yeah.
There are the lullabies we mentioned before. There are guided meditations, nature sounds. You were talking about nature sounds. Well, I have a whole section of nature sounds. And
Cool.
in the next 60 days, I'm releasing a second part of this app that will allow you to create your own environment. So if you are in the country, you're from the country and you have to go to the city and you miss those sounds from the country, I got you. But if you're from the city and you're used to jackhammers and people yelling and you have to go to the country where it's super quiet, guess what? I got you there too.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very cool.
I've
It's
actually
very
heard
cool.
that's a thing, people that living in cities
Oh,
that
for
go
sure.
can't sleep because the sounds are so different.
For sure. I had the reason that this is the thing that I paid attention to that is because someone said, hey, look, I can't go to sleep next to a river. You know, a babbling brook does nothing for me. I need jackhammers and, you know, taxi cabs honking. And I
That's
was like, man, that
crazy.
does not sound relaxing to me at all. But, you know, who am I? You know what I
Right.
mean?
Teach
More
their
than
own.
happy.
Yeah.
And, you know, one of part of this too was I really wanted to pay attention not just to people in the U.S. Like I said, we're in 138, I think 138 countries right now. We're doing a thing right now where it's $2.99 for 60 days, 2 months at $2.99 a month.
Okay.
That gives you an opportunity to tell whether this is for you or not, if
Yeah.
this has any value to you at all. And it's a very minimal um, uh,
Investment. Yeah.
financial thing. Okay. I could almost do it for free. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
Okay. So then it goes to the $5.99. So $6 a month. Now you can do it for a year, you can do it for a lifetime subscription. I have those options available, but and the reason I did that, Becky, is because you know some of the things that we were talking about before, some of the you know Calm or Spotify, or I just got very offended once I got into this and realized what this actually cost. I got very I am 6 times cheaper than my competitors.
Mm,
They're asking 6 times the money. I wanted to make people feel stupid
yeah.
if they didn't
Yeah.
choose us. We have 300,000 files. It is very well curated.
Mm,
That's for you to decide the first 60 days.
yeah.
I'm saying it, but it's for you to decide in the first
Yeah.
I give you 60 days to see if you agree with me.
Mm.
So, yeah, I wanted to make this available to anyone that really finds value in what we're talking
I love it. It sounds completely reasonable to me, especially with the value that you're getting. If you're consistent and use it, and
about. Yeah.
I mean, that's really what it comes down to is being consistent in anything, right?
That, and here's another thing too I want to mention because this has come up lately. So Melody Clouds, we're on the iOS platform, so Apple, any iPhone, and we're also on the Android, right? Okay, but I don't collect any money. I mean, I don't collect any information. So when you uh, subscribe, I don't collect that information. And I don't allow third parties to do it either.
That's cool.
So you're not going to get third party, requests or anything. And by the way, you can check this out on the app. The
Yeah.
Apple is furious with me because I don't allow them access to people's information. It's not
Mm,
mine to give. I
yeah.
don't, and I don't need it.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, so people that are interested in preserving their security, I took that very, very serious.
Hmm.
And that's a contract between me and them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's a promise between me and anyone that wants to try this. No one's getting your information, including me, by the way. I don't have access to that.
Okay. That's great. That's great. Well, we appreciate that because we are concerned with that. I mean,
Sure, you should be.
you should be. Yeah, you really should be. Well, Wayne, thank you so much. I feel like I have such a clear idea of what frequency music is, the impacts, the benefits. And I really do feel that, our moms are going to benefit from this conversation. So I just really appreciate you being with us today.
I look, that is my deepest, that's my deepest desire. I really, this is about helping people. I think, that there are, we would be way nicer to one another if we had tools like this, and, our environment would be a lot better if people use stuff like this.
Yeah, I completely agree. And that's why I think it's so synchronistic that you're on the podcast in this particular time. So thank you for being our guest. I'm going to make sure that we have a link to Melody Clouds so that if anyone's interested, they can go on, right? And you can just go on your app store, right? And put Melody Clouds in, and bada boom, bada
Oh,
bing.
for sure. Yes. I'll give you links. Yeah. 100%. The app is free.
Yeah.
Once they've made a subscription, to go there and grab the app, and that's the easiest way. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, I'll just have a website. If you all need more information, you can do that there. So, all right, Wayne, thanks so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much for having me.
It's my pleasure. All right, everyone. We'll catch you on the next Hippie Moms podcast.